He was 8 years old, just a few blocks from home. They found his shoes in one bag, his little body in another. This wasn't a monster in the dark. It was a man from the neighborhood. A man who said he'd help if he smiled at Leiby. And never let him go. You're watching at Unbelievable True Story, where we only tell real stories. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. It happened in Brooklyn, New York, July 2011. Leiby Kletzky was walking home from day camp. It was the first time his parents let him walk part of the way alone, just 7 blocks. He even had a note in his pocket with his address. But somewhere in the middle, he got lost, and that's when Leiby Aaron saw him, a 35-year-old man from the same Hasidic Jewish community that he said he'd help. He looked normal. He lived just around the corner, but he didn't take Leiby home. He took him to his apartment and locked the door. Every 40 seconds, a child is abducted, and 80% of the time, it's by someone they already know. Most people don't even realize they're in danger until it's too late. We link to family safety course in the description and first pinned comment. It teaches kids and parents what to do if something feels wrong, how to escape, speak up, and protect each other. Most danger doesn't come from strangers. It comes from people you think you can trust. This course shows you how to spot it and stop it. Now stay with me, because we're about to break down who Leiby Aaron really was, how he got away with it for 2 whole days, and what mistake he made that led police straight to him. Let's get into the full story. The weather was warm that day. Around 5 p.m. It was a Monday. People were outside. The sidewalks were full, but still somehow, Leiby took a wrong turn. He wasn't panicking. Not yet. He walked up to a man. He looked normal, like any neighbor. That man was Leiby Aaron. Leiby asked for help. Just help. Directions. Leiby said, "Come with me." He told Leiby he'd drive him to a safe place. Said he could call his mom from his house. That was the last time anyone saw Leiby alive. Leiby Aaron was 35 years old. Lived nearby. Worked odd jobs. People said he was quiet. Kept to himself. But he had darkness inside him. And that day he took a sweet, lost boy into his apartment and never let him leave. Hours went by. Leiby didn't come home. His mother called around. Started to panic. By nightfall, the entire Hasidic community was out searching. Posters, volunteers, helicopters, police. The NYPD brought in missing child units. The streets were packed. Over 2,000 people joined the search. Everyone had one question. Where is Leiby? And Leiby? He just watched. Like nothing happened. That first night, he fed Leiby a tuna sandwich. Then he gave him Tylenol with codeine and cyclobenzaprine, a muscle relaxer. Nobody knows exactly why. Some say to knock him out. Some say to calm him. The next morning, Leiby got scared that he saw the posters. He saw the news. He knew the boy was everywhere. He made a decision. A sick, evil decision. He told police later. I panicked and I killed him. He smothered Leiby, then cut up his body with a knife. He placed some parts in his freezer. Others, he stuffed into a black suitcase. Then, like it meant nothing, he left the suitcase on the sidewalk. On a quiet street in Brooklyn, that's where police found him. Behind a car. On East 2ND Street. It was the day after. July 12th. A boy who trusted. A boy who asked for help. And was betrayed by someone who looked just like any other dad on the block. According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC, 2023 in the U.S., a child goes missing every 40 seconds. 40 seconds. Leiby was just one of them. But it only takes one. That's why we added a family safety course in the description and pinned comment. It's for parents and kids. It shows you how to speak up, how to escape, and what to do when something feels wrong. This isn't about panic. It's about being prepared. It didn't take long to find him. Not Leiby, but the man who took him. The morning after they found the suitcase, the cops were already closing in. They'd looked through hundreds of surveillance tapes. Camera after camera, all around Borough Park. Then they spotted something. A little boy in a striped shirt, talking to a man on the sidewalk. They followed that footage, frame by frame, street to street. It led them to a nearby hardware store, then to Dahl Road, right where Leiby Aaron lived. Now get this, Leiby knew police were watching. He saw the flyers. He even went to work the next day, normal, cold, evil. But by that night, officers were knocking on his door. He opened it, calm, like nothing happened. But when they asked about Leiby, he didn't even lie. He said, I'll take you to the boy. That's when police found the black bags in the freezer. And in his freezer drawer, wrapped in a towel, was part of Leiby's remains. The rest had already been found hours before, stuffed inside a red suitcase on 20th Street. That a crime that took barely 24 hours to commit and destroyed hundreds of lives. That let's talk about Leiby Aaron. Because a lot of people had questions. Who was he? Why would he do something like this? Did he have a past? Turns out, he was just average. No big record. No flashing warnings. Just a strange guy. Lived with his dad and stepmom in a cluttered apartment. He worked random jobs. Stocking shelves. Driving delivery. Neighbors said he was awkward. Not dangerous, but inside, he was unstable. After he got arrested, Leiby wrote a confession. And what he wrote didn't make sense. He said Leiby asked for help. He said he brought him home, then panicked when he saw all the posters and news reports. He did the unthinkable. He didn't show guilt. He didn't show emotion. He just said, I didn't know what else to do. That was his reason for ending an innocent life. The case shocked the world, not just because of what happened, but how fast it happened, how normal Leiby seemed, and how random it all felt. Let's go back for a second. When Leiby got lost, he had no idea what was coming. He was walking down 50th Street, probably nervous, but still calm. He'd practiced this route with his mom. They even walked it together days before, but one wrong turn, one moment of confusion, and everything changed. He walked up to Leiby, maybe thinking, he looks like us. He'll help me. But Leiby? He wasn't a helper. He wasn't a guide. He was a taker. That's what makes this so scary. It was in the middle of the night. It wasn't a deserted alley. It wasn't some faraway town. It was Brooklyn. A busy street, broad daylight, with people outside. And still, Leiby disappeared. After Leiby's arrest, things moved fast. The police had the confession. They had the freezer. They had the suitcase. They had video proof. And the entire Borough Park community? They were in shock. Many of them couldn't believe it. Some had even spoken to Leiby before. He'd helped shovel snow. He'd shopped at the same stores. He was just there, hiding in plain sight. Leiby was charged with second-degree murder and kidnapping. But then came something else. A psych evaluation. His defense team said he was mentally unfit, that he didn't fully understand what he'd done. For a while, the trial stalled. There were court hearings, delays, arguments. But Leiby's parents? They stayed silent. They didn't yell. They didn't cry in court. They just sat, with pain on their faces, with silence in their hearts, waiting for justice. Now here's something real. According to the FBI, 2022, over 80% of children who are abducted and killed are taken by someone they already know. That's not a monster. That's not a masked villain. That's someone from your world, your building, your block. And that's why this case hits so hard. Because this wasn't stranger danger. This was community danger. A few months later, Leiby took a plea deal that he admitted to killing Leiby. He got 40 years to life in prison. No chance of getting out early. And when they asked him why he did it, he still didn't have an answer. Just, I panicked. But that answer wasn't enough. Not for Leiby's family. Not for New York. Not for anyone. The whole neighborhood changed after that day. After Leiby was taken. After the truth came out. Brooklyn wasn't the same. The sidewalks felt colder. Parents held their kids tighter. People looked over their shoulders a little more, even though Leiby was in jail. The fear didn't leave, because it wasn't just what happened. It was how fast it happened, and how easily. One moment, a boy was walking home. The next, he was gone. That kind of pain? It doesn't go away. At first, the Hasidic community stayed quiet. They're a tight group. They keep things inside. They grieve privately. But Leiby's death? It broke through all that. People cried in the streets. Men who never cried before wept. They came together in thousands, holding candles, holding each other. They called it a tragedy beyond words. And they were right. A few weeks later, the Kletzky family did something amazing. In the middle of their pain, they created something good. They started the Leiby Kletzky Memorial Fund. You see, after the murder, people donated over $1.50 million. The family didn't want to keep it. They wanted to help others. They built a fund to support children, to help families in need, to give kindness in Leiby's name. But they didn't stop there. They also worked with lawmakers because they said, we can't bring him back, but maybe we can stop this from happening again. So they pushed for something new, Leiby's Law, a A system that would let police get security camera footage faster. Before it's too late. Before it's erased, that law passed. It's real. It's saving lives today. All because a little boy had parents who said, "We won't let his death be the end of his story." You know what else changed? The community. Before Leiby, most kids walked around freely. No cell phones. No GPS. No check-ins. Just trust. Faith in their neighbors. After Leiby, everything shifted. They started programs. They taught kids about strangers, about safety, about what to do if they feel lost or scared. They even made a community patrol system where trained volunteers would keep watch during school and camp hours because nobody wanted another Leiby. Now, let me be real with you. Leiby didn't do anything wrong. He wasn't careless. He wasn't wild. He was a child, doing what kids do, learning independence, trying to grow up. And his mother? She was just trying to give him that freedom, that trust, like any parent would, but evil. It doesn't need an invitation. Sometimes it just shows up, smiling, pretending to help. That's why we added a free family safety course. Write in the description and first pinned comment that it's made by experts, police, martial artists, real people who teach families how to spot danger before it happens. That it's not fear. It's being ready. It's teaching your kids to trust their gut, speak up, and get to safety. Point 1 hour could save a life. Back to the story. People ask, what happened to Levi Aaron in prison? Truth is, he disappeared from headlines. No interviews, no big updates. But one thing's for sure, he won't ever walk free. 40 years to life. He'll be an old man if he ever leaves. If he even makes it that long. But this story, it isn't about him. It's about Leiby, a kind boy with soft eyes, with a quiet heart. It's about what his life meant and what his loss changed. His family still lives in Brooklyn. They've kept most things private, but once in a while, they speak up, not for attention, not for headlines, but to say this: we miss him every day, and we will never stop loving him. Let's pause here for a second. This could happen to anyone, not just in New York, not just in big cities. Kids go missing from parking lots, from schoolyards, from their own front porch, and a lot of the time, it's someone they already know. That's what makes it so scary. Because most of us teach kids to fear the stranger in the van. But what about the neighbor, the family friend, the man at the corner store? According to the U.S. Department of Justice, DOJ, 2022, in 76% of child abduction cases, the abductor is someone the child knows. That it's not about panic. It's about awareness, about giving kids the power to see danger and walk away from it. ***, some stories never really end. They just leave a hole in the world. That's what Leiby's story did. It tore a hole in Brooklyn, in his family, in every parent who watched it unfold, because it wasn't just about one boy. It was about all of our kids. The quiet ones, the brave ones, the curious ones who want to walk home alone. Just once. It was about trust, trust in neighbors, in our streets, in the belief that our place is safe. But after Leiby, that belief broke. His father, Leiby Kletzky, stayed quiet for a long time. Didn't go on the news, didn't yell or scream. But when he finally spoke, his words made the whole world stop. He said, "We can't understand why this happened, but we believe in God, and we believe in kindness." He didn't speak with hate. He didn't curse the man who did it. He just said, "We will turn this pain into something good." That's not weakness. That's strength. Most of us will never. No, the family used the donated money to help other families. One day, they gave rent to a mom escaping abuse. Another day, they paid for a child's surgery. No cameras, no press, just quiet good. They said, "This is what Leiby would have wanted." And they meant it. Let's talk about what we can learn from all this. Because that's the real reason. To tell a story like this, not to scare you, not to make you cry, but to wake you up. To remind you that the world is not always what it seems. That danger isn't always loud. Sometimes it's soft-spoken. Sometimes it offers help. Sometimes it wears a smile. And if we don't talk to our kids about that, who will? Here are a few things that changed after Leiby. Community surveillance. Local groups began installing more street cameras. Faster police access. Leiby's law helped cops get to video footage before it was deleted. Parent education. Workshops on how to talk to kids about strangers and tricky people. Child safety training. Kids were taught no, go, yell, tell in schools and community centers, not because they were living in fear, but because they refuse to be caught off guard again. And that's what we all need: preparedness. Not paranoia. That's why, one last time, we'll remind you, we added a free safety course for families in the description and pinned comment. IT shows how to spot danger before it's too late. What to teach your kids. How to respond when something feels off. Made by real cops. Real trainers. No fluff. Just survival. Because as one officer said, it's better to have the skills and never need them than to need them and not have them. Leiby's story didn't just shake Brooklyn. It reached hearts around the world, from Israel to London, from LA to Lagos. People heard about this little boy who got lost and never came home. People lit candles in his name. They sent letters. They built playgrounds in his memory. One of them reads, "For Leiby, who just wanted to walk home." Today, it's been more than a decade, but his name is still spoken, not with tears only, but with action. His family still lives in the same neighborhood. They still walk those same sidewalks. And every step they take with his memory. Every time they help someone, they're helping him live on. And us? We remember too. Because even if you never met Leiby, even if you live 1,000 miles away, his story can live in the way you protect your own child, in the way you teach them to trust wisely, in the way you never again say, "That could never happen here." Because it can. And it did. And now, let's close with one moment. A scene that stayed with people for years. The day after they found his body, a funeral was held. Thousands showed up. Men in black suits. Mothers holding children tight. No cameras. Just pain. And in the middle of it all, one small, wooden casket. 8 years old. That's all he got. But through his death, 1,000 kids were saved. Because their parents paid attention. Because communities changed. Because the world listened to us. Oh, if this story made you stop, if it made you hold your child closer tonight, then maybe, just maybe, Leiby's life still has something left to give.